Last time on the Mystic Muses, Enoki, Svend, Verna and 𝑚oritas. After a fight with what was once thought to be a Fey ally, the group are gathered together, pursuing the High Mage that attacked Verna's home city, Varosia. Seeing a strange but familiar pink beam of light and a cluster of undead drawn to its power, the group follows it to discover Torrance's tower, draining the land and the undead of their arcane energy and absorbing it into his tower for unknown purposes. After stopping the flow of magic with their combined efforts, the group, through quick thinking, managed to sneak into his tower, only for Torrance to challenge them with a puzzle of his own design. He will talk with them on civil terms, but if they lose, the party doesn't want to find out. Schemes, plans, and mishaps abound, and the party find themselves at a loss. The last image they see is of Torrance, smug and satisfied at their defeat before the floor below them disappears. A mighty plunge. So now...
our story continues.
So, Svend, you sit upright suddenly in your bed, in the home, the commune of the Goliaths, your home. The names of Verna and Enoki and Lord 𝑚oritas Elderwood are so strong on your mind, the visions of monsters made of lightning, kindly witches turning sour, towers floating in the sky, the icy chill of seawater. These all seem so familiar, but on the edge of your memory, drifting away like a dream or like dandelion seeds. You look to your left and you know that there should be a jar there. You see the water ring left behind on your bedside, where Marvin should be. Where is Marvin? You rise to your feet, seeing your leathers and your boots brand new, and your bow and short swords there by the window as you left them. You rush out the door, and seeing your family sitting around the irregular wooden table, they look blank and emotionless, staring at nothing. Vamos a comer, says your mother. Sit down, son, says your father. Yeah, sit down, Pebble. Mamá ate empanadas, says your brother. At once, all three of their gazes turn to you, but their turning necks screech in the echoey hall like stone on stone. Their eyes ease open, and shards of deep green emerald begin to slowly ease out of the gaps, stretching longer and longer. Poof, the door bursts open and a tide of water races to your body. You thrash and fight for breath as the torrent is overwhelming. As you stay still in the water for just a moment, you see yourself still and endless. Deep blue in all directions, not knowing which way is up until the currents keep you. You feel the water ripple around you and shoot you up to the surface like a spout. You see the edge of the pool around you. A glass rim cradling the water, the glass rim of a familiar mason jar. The shadow of deep orange scales and flowing fins looms over you as a booming voice emanates from the dying fish. That may be their fate if you do not rise up. When the mountains wash the city clean and the waters drown the sun above, hope will end for this world of yours just like it did for mine. Now rise up and meet your fate. Get up. Get up. Oi, get up. You lurch up to your feet and you see the immense form of a deep black scale dragonborn with axes across one shoulder and various little axes and hatchets across a belt across his chest. You look left, look right, you see the dying campfire here, and you feel a piece of paper tucking out of your pocket. We'll get back to that. So you two.
What? No.
Oh, it's good to be back, isn't it?
What the fuck, Adam?
Jesus. You're just like overwhelmed, like, oh no, my parents did what? The water did what?
Marvin did what?
My fish did what?
What fate are you talking about?
This right here, these feelings of players being what the hell, it extends my lifespan.
Can't believe you've done this.
Not even sorry. So a tree felled in the forest across the way rose you out of the conversation that you had just had with me, ended the last episode, and you see the heavy set, thick neck, green scale dragonborn there across the way.
𝑚oritas, God, I'm still reeling. 𝑚oritas gestures to Verna because he has a feeling that if he speaks into their head, it probably won't go well.
Oh, well, this is going to be a thing where we're just like, so just before we go into any conversation, this. I think Verna's still processing.
Okay, so while you're buffering, we'll cut back to Sven.
It's the Windows dial-up noise for me.
You've sat up, and there's this one immense form of a dragonborn with an axe over one shoulder and various little axe and tools across the belt. And you look around, you see a few other dragonborns, like one dwarf and some humans sort of looking around there. They're all equally confused, but sort of going about their business as some of them walk in various directions. You find yourself now in a forest. There's a sort of a circle area where some of the trees have been felled to make like little logs and benches, and a small stone fire pit, which is now just coalesced into ash and smoke and various fingers of clouds of smoke sort of there as the fire sort of died down. It's early. It's like the sun's quite low in the sky. It can't be any earlier than 8 or 9 a.m. And there's a little fold of paper that's poking out of your top pocket.
Okay, first thing I would say, when he wakes up, he's gonna look at what's happening and he's gonna scream from the dream that he was having.
Yeah, so the Dragonborn that's over you just like lowers back, just like brings X down. Whoa, fuck, steady on, mate.
I'm so sorry. I was just having a nightmare. Where am I?
The Scale Eyes island in the Lonely Sea. How'd you get here?
We were by the marshes, and then we got into a floating tower, and then we fell, and then I hit water. And where are my friends?
That's a good question. Let's cut to them.
Okay, Verna has recovered. I'm Verna. This is Lord Elderwood.
He bows.
Just a warning. He's gonna talk to you inside your head if he talks to you. Just to prep you for that.
Do you see the reptilian form and some of the frills along the scales sort of like flare up, and it's like, what the hell? What?
It's him. It's him.
It's me. I'm speaking in your mind.
Points at Lord Elderwood.
If that's how you talk. That's how you talk, Flint, then fine.
We aren't meant to be here.
No, you're not. This is a private logging yard.
Yes. We were dealing with something back in the marshes. Evil wizard guy, floating tower, dropped us out of it into the water last night. We've not been here for long. We're planning on leaving very soon.
As you say that, you hear a shout from quite a ways in the distance. Shkithka! Got any stirring sorted yet? The big guy's awake. Yeah, I found them, boss. Don't suppose you two know a tall Goliath type fella up our campsite?
Is he okay? I bolt for the...
Well, there they go. He's just gonna very awkwardly, briskly walk after Verna.
So back at the campsite, you're up on your feet, and after a while, Verna makes her way through the trees. You enter and you see various other Dragonborn humans and dwarves all wandering around. Some of them are starting to drag logs through the gaps in the trees, and some of them are sharpening axes by the fire.
Verna!
You're awake. Okay. Are you okay?
What? Yeah, I think so. What happened?
So you fell unconscious after hitting the water when Torrance dropped us out of his tower several miles away from where we were before.
Yeah, I've noticed.
At this point, Lord Elderwood appears from the trees.
Lord Elderwood!
Hello. I see you're awake.
I heard screaming. Are you okay? Are you hurt?
I just had a nightmare. There was voices. Marvin was huge. Yeah, I was home with my family, and Marvin wasn't there. And then everything exploded, and it was water. Marvin was really big, and there was a voice talking about fate. I'm very confused.
Rightfully so. That doesn't sound like a...
It's not my normal dream. No. And then I woke up.
did anything happen to you like that back home? And you said you just... How did you find Marvin again?
If I could cut... All right, in the black scale Dragonborn sort of cuts in. I'm glad you lot aren't here to make off with any of our wares or do weird stuff, but this is a private loggers yard. We're here from the Osarian Lumberjacks Guild. We're more than happy to get you out of the premises, but we would like to get you off of the premises.
Right.
We would like to get off of the premises as well.
Yes. Let us pack up camp and we'll leave.
Of course. Barrick, come here. One of the humans comes along. It's like, row this lot to the shore, would you? Seriously, boss, I was going to try and actually cut down some trees today. You will when you actually get your certification, because right now those new lines are going to cut down jack shit. Row them. Oh, it's far enough.
He's just a little guy.
Poor guy.
Yeah. Human, like late 20s, scruffy hair. One day he'll grow a beard, but in the meantime, he's still trying. Yeah, there's a boat sort of on the shoreline. I'll be right over there, I guess. Take your time.
Okay. Well, let's get you up and ready.
Yeah.
Do you happen to have a little mouse on your person as well?
Mouse.
Inoki turned into a mouse.
Oh.
Yeah, look, yesterday was a lot,
It was a lot.
and I think she just needed to have some alone time. She was with you the last time we saw her.
Oh, I do have this paper here.
Sven reaches into his inside pocket where you guys had seen Inoki scurry away. He pulls out a square of yellow paper instead, similar to the same stock of paper that the notes were written on and the time that you saw into her bag when she had flopped the flap.
Nice.
Friends, I deeply apologize for not formally announcing my departure. I'm anxious to stay in the presence of such a strange gaggle of people while my mind buzzes in this way. In less than 12 hours, a sage I had trusted for weeks had revealed herself to be a flesh-eating monstrosity bent on killing me. The betrayal has shaken me to my core. Shortly after that, I was drawn up into the realm of a mad mage in a confrontation that racked my brain and bruised my spirit. I don't doubt that he's done terrible things, but I simply seek to understand fungus and certain unusual things about myself. The feud you have with him has me terrified and left me unsure about my future. On top of all that, we're so very close to Asarion. It's where I was born, but it is not my home. Just being here is making my scales crawl. Forgive me, but I must retreat. I'm going to seek out teachings from a sage I can truly trust. They live in the Tree-End Stride, which you guys know to be a very prominent forest in the southeast of the Veiled Rock, not too far from Neuros, which you are very familiar with, Lord Elderwood. If you have any information about the whereabouts of Milagros, do please inform me. A message sent to the Sprig and Stem in New Raphael will get to me. Best of luck with your future endeavors, Inoki.
Oh.
Well,
She left us a note.
it's more than I was expecting.
Sven is going to make sure that he carries all his weapons and then be ready to go.
Yep, it takes a little while for Lord Elderwood to take his cloaks and various gobs, which are now dried and
It's probably going to
Mostly
take me
fresh.
like a bit to put
let's
armor back on.
Yep.
I think every so often Moritas is just kind of looking over at Verna with a hint of concern. But won't approach it right now because we had a pretty deep talk already. And to bring up more might be
I think if you are
just little
sort of,
peeksies.
I think the main thing on Werner's mind is a lot of guilt,
Right.
because this has become a lot more than what they had anticipated. People have been put in danger. We nearly died. You know, especially Inoki, who really didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
So there's some relief there that she's safe.
something to consider as eventually the three of you get your wares and provisions together, sling up your bags and wander through the trees. Sure enough, Barak, the noodle-armed human kid, is there by the boat. The three of you pile into a fairly small rowboat, and it has quite a bit of a movement to it. It's got several gears so that as it moves, it rows further than it would otherwise. As you see along the riverbank, you see that there's another rowboat of similar design and a small skiff with like a back that sort of opens down so that they can load logs and pack in a lot more men there so that they can take the wood that they chop down back to shore. Maybe 15-20 minutes journey until you eventually get to the banks on the other side, and you can see the dust path of the Nethervale Road extending east to west. Eventually you'll pile out, and he looks up at you fairly mentally. Yeah, well, this is the other side again. Maybe 3/4 of a mile west, you'll get Asarion. It's probably the nearest town. But yeah, best of luck to you, strangers.
Do you require payment?
He looks around, just being like, "What the hell?"
Let me know when you're going to talk to people. If you've just heard a voice in your head, that's him.
Oh, right. Bit weird. weird that he talks to me that way? You mean he's still got
I can hear you.
Alright, sure.
Would you like payment?
I mean, if that's alright, that'd be great. I mean, I come on like 2 silvers a week, which is alright money, but it's not great.
Lord Eldwood will toss him a gold.
He looks at it like, holy crap, that's a lot of money. And he's like, and just like hides it inside his shirt just to make sure that no one else sees it. Thank you, sir. Maybe you really are a lord. And pushes the boat off of the shore and begins to row back into the
Thank you.
distance. He waves as the boat slowly sinks into the distance.
You know, I don't understand why people find it so unnerving when I'm in their minds.
Sven is just gonna pretend he didn't hear that. And just gonna look somewhere else.
Sometimes it's unexpected to hear a voice in your head.
But you always have a voice in your head.
Another voice in your head.
So do you recommend that I then try to sound like them in their own head?
No, just when we meet new people,
Yes.
just let us warn them first. So then they know what to expect. So then it's less of a shock. So then because that's the third person that's happened to, who's just looked wildly about them because they don't know where it's come from. And I just feel like if we let them know, they can just address you directly.
Right. Fine. I'll inform you when I wish to speak to someone in their heads.
Sven is gonna ask a very Sven question.
Sven's flavoured question.
Lord Elderwood,
Yes.
where you come from, is this the normal way people communicate?
No.
Then how is this the first time that you have these issues?
Verna just puts a hand up to their temple. Just takes a deep breath.
Oh, this is so good.
You know, I would explain it, but it would take too long. Let's just say the people back home are very accommodating to me and my wife.
So, here on the Northern Vale Road, north of the Veiled Rock, you see the outlines of red and orange buildings far to your left, to the west. Maybe half to two-thirds of a mile away, and then the road widens east as grassland and jagged, uneven tree lines extend out in all directions, and the immense blue dominates everything to the south. The roadway is open in both directions. What do you wish to do?
Guys, have you eaten?
Not since dinner.
Did you want to eat?
I mean, I'm starving. Shall we do that first before we...
Yes.
We need to...
Have either of you been here before?
I've never left Morosia, other than to go to the marshes.
Right. And you've never been here before?
No.
Okay. So I think we should probably... We're in Asiron?
You're close to it. You're close to Asarion.
Okay. I think we should head to Asarion, perhaps find some kind of inn there, and figure out next steps.
Yeah.
We've been through quite a bit, and I feel that there is perhaps some very pertinent information that needs to be shared between each other.
Three of you drift west for just under an hour's walking until eventually the gates of the cityscape loom over you. The buildings are towering over you, and the decals of the descriptions of various dragon-like inlays make up gargoyles in a lot of the spaces. Various rooftops are domed and crested, and the vast majority of the people walking around here are dragonborn. The flashes of deep blue and green scales, while some of them share the same bronzes and coppers and silvers that you'd expect certain metallic dragon breeds to have. The odd flash of a human and elf and one dwarf here and there sort of works his way around. As you get to the intersection of one of the roads, you realise that you've walked very effortlessly down a sloped street until eventually the heart of the city is there, with 11 other pathways going off in all the directions. The city almost appears circular and splitting off in even directions, kind of like what we would know as the real world Seven Dials. There's roads going off in all directions, sort of like in a wheel and spoke. There's on one side town crier, this relatively tall elven woman actually starts intoning the news in Draconic, then eventually in Elvish, then eventually in Common, saying 17th disappearance in the West of Vale area has started to create alerts among the city streets. Spotting sightings of an unknown blackened monolith in the sky confuses mages to the east.
Well, at least we know he's easy to spot now.
Rainfall predicted.
Do they have like pictures of the people that are disappearing, like sketches?
As you pass by this town crier, you see a doorway that leads into like a fairly tall building directly behind her, and on the right side of this wall you see a wide board which across the top in Draconic and then right under it in Common says, "For those who seek to assist," and it's like a help wanted adventurers board, and along the left column you see various pictures of missing 12 days, missing 14 days, missing 32 days, mixture of people, mostly dragonborn, but there's the occasional human, elf, gnome, and the rest of the board is sort of dominated by other things that you'd find on another adventurers help wanted board.
And it's no one that any of us would recognize, right?
Roll investigation for the first time.
2024, what will you bring me?
Natural 20!
Woo! What the fuck?
Wait, investigation. I have a feeling it's a -1, but let me double check. No, it's just a +0. So it's a natural 20, baby.
Yeah. So you look over each of the names, and each of these posters are quite detailed, of saying name, place of residence, last spotted various days ago. And as you like put your finger over it, you feel like a slight crackle of static, as though the paper's enchanted. So to say that the page would change dates accordingly. It doesn't need to be replaced.
So clever.
It is very clever.
You see that a lot of them have the help wanted pull here, sort of like little tabs to them. But a lot of them have been cleared away, and fairly scruffy writing under them says, "Being sought by the Elder Hunt, being sought by the Elder Hunt, being sought by the Elder Hunt," which you know is to be an organization represented by one of your lady wife's dear friends. So people are aware of these missing persons, and some forces are looking into it. As you inspect the rest of the board, a lot of it is still other notices that were given to adventurers to sort of help them out and just to provide wares. So like Umber Hulk spotted to the northern reaches, dire rats in my pantry, please clear them. But noticeably the largest poster is wanted dead or alive, the Whisper Silk, 10,000 gold piece bounty.
The Whisper Silk.
All one word, Whisper Silk. The picture of where the wanted poster otherwise would be is blank. They don't have a visual of them, but the Whisper Silk wanted 10,000 gold pieces. And in the corner, it also has a scruffy writing saying, "Being sought by the Elder Hunt."
Interesting.
Is there a description of this?
Female figure, 30 years of age approximately, unknown lineage, last spotted in the Grandeur district of New Raphael. Delightful. So you are here in the heart of Osarion. You've been given some information about it. As you say this, a pack of maybe 20 or so school children rush past you, clutching books in their hands, clutching little books to their chest, looking very eager as they go past you and then duck down another street.
Just a bunch of unattended school kids.
About a minute later, you see like a pair of mums and a pair of dragonborn motherly matrons and a human man sort of wander past them and then follow them behind. It's like, "Kids, slow down."
Well, should we find some place to rest?
We definitely need to sit down and talk.
Verna, as you are the most justifiably insistent on having this conversation, why don't you roll investigation to find a nice watering hole to Sydney?
Oh my god.
No.
Yeah.
1.
Oh. 1.
That is amazing.
So the three of you walk as a pack sort of across the opposite direction of that town crier, go up some streets, turn left again, walk down a little bit, and you get back to the intersection. You do this for another 15 or so minutes before you realize you're going in circles. Would anyone else like to investigate the city?
I will.
Let's Go forth, Sven.
Sven is going to. I have a 4.
Well,
The smart one left us.
So this time, Sven decides to go right and then skip a street. You decide to walk past her and it's like, rain likely to follow.
I'm going to talk to someone. Is that okay, Verna?
Just thank you for giving us. Yeah. Who are you going to talk to?
You just have to guess.
No.
And he's gonna kind of give you, like, for the first time, a very, like, cheeky grin,
Just like
and is just
you
gonna walk
see
over to
just the hand once again. Turn to the forehead.
just gonna walk over to the town crier lady.
Yep, so tall elven woman, blonde curls tied up in a tight bun up the top, and she's sort of intoning a lot of the news from like a clipboard in her arms, very plain, sort of cream color dressed. She switches back to Draconic until eventually sort of looks up at you and then just continues back to reading.
He kind of just waves at her to get her attention, and then, my lady,
Berna just points at Moritas.
my lady, we are looking for a place.
She flinches back, pulls the clipboard up, opens her hand, and like green sparks to emerge from her hand.
He just stares unflinchingly.
My fancy friend here. It's him talking in your head.
I feel like I prefaced the conversation with a wave. I feel like that should have been enough, but
When has it been sufficient?
he shrugs.
Name one time that's worked.
It's a living. Like,
She lets the green energy like leave her fingers. Good morning.
good morning.
Can you tell us where we can eat?
We just need a place to rest and eat and sleep.
Broken Wings Mead Hall is the 7th building down Frapture Street that way.
Thank you.
Rain likely.
Verna will just mouth, I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's fine. She mouths back.
Lord Elderwood will lead the way, since you two got lost last time.
Verna's never been here.
That's fair. You've also got a lot on your mind.
They're stressed and sad all the time.
So you realised that you'd actually walked past this way both times that you were leading the way, but it's a very wide building and sort of almost dominates the city block that it's in. The city sort of like
What's it
walking
called
spot.
again,
The
DM?
Broken Wing Mead Hall, and as you go to like the wide swinging saloon-style doors, the little A-board out the front shows like a chalk drawing of a little mead tankard with 2 dragon wings, but one of them's a little bit sort of crooked and a little wizened. Under it, it says, buy 1 breakfast platter, get a breakfast mead for copper. Place is actually starting to quiet down. Most of the tables are largely filled with a few Dragonborn and this one gaggle of dwarfs in the booth towards the back, but most of the tables are actually starting to clear out as it's gone to places where people are starting to get out to work, and a lot of the very long bar towards the back has huge sections of casks and barrels sort of set into the wall behind it, and very ambient little red glows of lamps set into the wall, but natural nice warmth to it. The place seems warm and welcoming. It's a very airy room as well. The ceiling vaults up quite high, and there's sort of a balcony with more seating sort of up and around it. A lot of the tables are like mostly circular with mismatched chairs, and there's a few booths towards the side as well.
I was going to ask, are there any booths?
Yeah.
I feel like we need a little...
We need a booth.
Yep. So you pass the booth that has those dwarves in it, and they look like they have a sort of like a map for a schematic sort of laid out on their table. You pass another booth where there's a bunch of gnome kids sitting around looking really intensely at each other with cards in their hand. Then you pass one empty booth.
Poor kids playing Magic the Gathering.
Mm.
All their money's gone.
They're gambling with Magic the Gathering? Is that a thing you can do?
Technically, yes, there's rules called ante where you bet cards, but those are all technically banned in tournament play. Also, they've only lost their money because magic cards are so expensive on the secondary market.
Okay.
Also, in this setting, it would either be called Ancients of Artifice or Wizard of the Happening cards.
Wizard of the Happening.
I like that. I like that one.
Yes, there are TCGs in my setting because I'm a TCG nerd at me. So you guys all settle into this booth. You wait for a little moment until eventually you hear like a little pop. At the edge of your table, there is a being about maybe 30 centimeters tall, deep blue skin, apron covered in various stains, and bright yellow eyes. They're like little stars as they looked up to all of you.
The ultimate little guy.
We found him. Now kidnap him.
I don't know if it's Sven's brain or my brain, but I kind of want to like grab it and tickle it. And, like,
No!
That is a man
I'm trying to kill Werner.
of embarrassment.
So
Yeah, you still stare at the 30 centimeter tall, like waiter server dude, and it's like, yes, I get it all the time. It's rude to stare. You guys want to order anything?
do you have any breakfast?
We're still serving breakfast for the next 30 minutes.
What is the biggest breakfast you have?
The chef just bought Genner's book about the breakfast destroyers.
That's good.
Yeah, you remember those as being the breakfast sandwiches that they served back at Thirsty Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll throw in a breakfast meat at the same time as well. You friends?
What other options do you have, breakfast-wise?
You see this little figure leap from the table, and a blue streak at hyper speed just whip through the tables and then zap its way back, and it's holding a menu about 3 times its size.
Thank you.
So you see various like sandwich platters, various bacon platters, like an entire page of just all of the different kinds of black pudding that they have. You lean over and show Lord Elder with the page about the soups. There's a small box saying like chef's challenge. Make a request. If it is reasonable, we may do it. 3 silvers. Time is money. Time is money.
I don't know. I'll probably also have a soup or something. And coffee if you have it.
It's not good, but we do got it. And for you, fancy pants.
You're going to hear a voice in your head. It's his voice.
Aw, just like Mom.
I think I'll have some tomato soup. Maybe some baguettes on the side.
Is that like a fancy elf bread?
Yes.
Ah, sure. He takes the menu and he zips away at high speed before the menu touches the table.
Wow.
Like a little gust of wind as he runs away.
Who would like to begin the sharing portion of what we have to discuss?
Sharing of what?
Some things happened whilst you were out. Well, Marvin, most prevalently, and what you have discovered about Marvin, given your dream, Sven.
I think Werner is surprised at the sudden change of heart, but nods and so turns to Sven.
Sven is going to ask us. I'm assuming he's heard part of that, of what you were saying.
Yeah, constant bleep bloop broadcast.
Is there anything wrong with Marvin?
That remains to be seen. However, it's definitely something that we both feel like is important for you to know about Marvin. So when we were back in Malagras's house,
He's not my best friend.
I'm sure he is. It's just so when we were back in Malagras's house, just so that I had a sense of what we were doing, I sort of cast a spell just to sort of determine what was there. And while that happened, Marvin registered as something called an elemental.
Sven, roll nature.
Actually, okay-ish. 12.
So you know that elementals are a kind of being that are made of living energy from the elements. Air, earth, fire, and water. The thing that you fought in Verosia a few short days ago was another much rarer kind of elemental, but you've encountered a few like beings made out of living rock in the mountains and stuff, but they were always sort of placid and out of the way. But you know of them enough to be like, okay, so things made out of the elements.
That means he's a very cool fish.
He's a little more than a fish, because I don't know whether you remember, but Malagras didn't want anything to do with him, and considering that she had no problem wiping the floor with us. Like, she didn't want anything to do with him, which means he's potentially something incredibly powerful.
It's at this point that a human man, like late 40s, comes along and sets Verna down their coffee and you down your morning mead. Did you want a drink or something, buddy?
No, I'm fine.
The fuck? Who said that over there?
It's you, the guy you were talking to. It's a whole
Apologies,
thing. We need to put a note around your neck.
Yeah.
I would prefer we didn't.
We'll embroider it into your cloak.
I apologize. I'm just so used to people not reacting to it that it just
So you don't want to order anything to drink, Mr. Whisperman?
loving the nickname, but no. Asta genuinely keeps forgetting and just respond, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's true. I was told to warn
Every day Verna wakes up
and you've aged just a bit.
rapidly.
Oh gosh. So at that point, Sven is gonna take the jar and like look at Marvin and be like,
You look back into the fish, the deep orange and reds of the flowing fins and the bright, curious yellow eyes, and you just sort of keep swishing.
"So you're more than a fish?
Nods,
Why didn't you tell me before?"
shrugs his fins because he can't talk to you because he's a fish.
Yeah, well, I guess that makes sense. So what are you?
Bloop. Just like lets out a bunch of bubbles and a bunch of bubbles float to the top of the jar.
Are you trying to have a conversation with Marvin right now?
I respect his efforts.
Yeah.
Marvin,
Yeah.
would you like me to attempt to bridge your minds? The gaps?
Is that something you can do?
I don't know. I've not tried it before.
First time for everything. Nobody steps in the same river twice.
If you say so.
And keeps looking between the fish and Morit is just like, what's happening here?
So Moritas can kind of bounce between minds quick enough that the delay is only like 0 point something seconds. With up to I think we agreed 4 people.
Yes.
So what he's going to try and do is connect with both Marvin and Sven, but just focusing on basically quickening the connection
Sure.
to the point of where he is just like a
Bridge?
conduit for their minds.
Yeah, their minds are linking.
We're
So, like,
mind melding.
in my head, it has the same energy as A, linking up your Game Boys to trade Pokemon,
Oh my god, yes.
and B, that bit where Lilo puts Stitch's finger on the record player to make him play Elvis.
Yes. Oh my god, so true. Yes, absolutely.
Quality reference.
I know. For the sake of argument, to maintain the connection, because this is still channeling through your magic, roll Charisma with proficiency.
My dice are being very nice to me today. 21.
Ooh.
Delightful. So, Lord Elderwood, as you extend your hands, you see very faint glows of the blues and greens and starlight of your auroras sort of permeate just around your fingertips as you're there focusing on this. You let your mind sort of become very loose and very absent as you focus on Sven and Marvin the Salmon. In your head, Sven, you're hearing effectively like the dial tone static. You're hearing just a very white noise. The rest of the chatter of the pub around you actually starts to drown out a little bit. It's not uncomfortable, it's just very strange.
Okay. What is this sound?
Sorry, I'm trying. Frequencies are weird and I'm trying to find a common wavelength to put you both on.
Verna, you watch the neon blue of Lord Elderwood's eyes somewhat roll back a bit as they check out of this conversation. Is this thing on? And finally, Sven, you hear that. And it's the same voice from the dream.
It is the voice from my dream. Wait, who's that speaking?
It's me, your little best friend. It's been a long time. I was finally excited we get to talk.
Marvin!
Hi, how you doing?
You can speak!
Always good. There's a bit of a language barrier being that you're big and I'm a fish at the moment.
So what are you?
It's kind of hard to explain. I had a great deal of power before, but it was taken from me.
Wait, is that why Verna kind of doesn't like you?
Verna just doesn't know what I am. They'll come around. I'm fine.
Assumptions like that.
Yeah,
don't know how Verna's mind works.
The funny thing is that he's saying this out loud.
Oh, yeah.
So you're hearing this.
Wait. Is he?
Yeah.
You're hearing Sven's half of the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. So when did you become a fish?
Moritas, you're hearing all of this, by the way.
Okay.
I'm probably keeping a very close eye on Moritas.
I'm just snoozing.
Just in case his head pops like a grape.
Go ahead,
Phil, we
go
are
ahead and
not
roll inside.
holding him right
ahead
now.
and roll
No,
what?
I don't even
Insight.
have him.
That's one of my better ones. 16.
The glow around Moritas's fingertips is like violently bright, but not overpowering, like shining. And he's sort of like thrumming in the chair, but he doesn't look like his head's going to explode like in Scanners anytime soon.
Okay. I'll just sort of keep an eye.
I've been holding on to this shape for maybe a year at this point. Went swimming around the brooks and the streams before I found you a few months back.
Oh, and what were you before?
He tries his best to articulate it, but you feel the words get garbled by telepathic static. Check your phone, Asta.
Oh.
I'm sorry, buddy. I deeply want to explain this to you, but I'm being held back by it.
How can you be held back?
By the person that did this to me. The person that put me in this shape.
Who's that?
Calls himself Rex Petrus.
Rex?
Rexpetrus. The Emerald Emperor and sovereign over great swathes of elemental earth.
Why would he do such a thing to you?
Because I've been, and he says a word that could either be either ruler or creator. He says both words simultaneously and it becomes like garbled mess in your head. I've been the ruler / creator of elemental water for as long as anyone can know.
Oh. So that's why you're a fish.
Wasn't exactly going to be a deer now, was I?
Yeah, no, probably not. Wait, by the way, you were the voice in my dream. What was the thing about the fate?
Those gemstones have been encroaching along the riverbeds of the elemental water for hundreds of years at this point. He's finally been crazy enough to declare war, and he's not done with just water. He's coming here.
What?
Moritas, roll a concentration check.
Yeah, but what about fate? You were saying something about me.
I didn't just find you because you're a nice guy. I found you because you are exactly what I need to stop him.
Is it a Constitution save?
Yes.
What do you mean?
The bridge between earth and water can't be held by just anybody.
8.
You know what you gotta do next, you know what you gotta... And the glow around Moritas's fingertips fades, as eventually the voice in your mind just becomes the sound of bubbles in the back of your head as the connection breaks.
Oh, sorry. Connection broke. Were you finished talking?
I think so.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. We can try some other time.
Of course.
Across the tavern, there's a loud as a window breaks. A black streak flies and flitters across the way until eventually it's onto the table and a familiar bundle of blackened feathers unfurls around you.
Donald.
Donald the Crow.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, you're...
Donald the Crow looks up, blinks at you, and then stares at you intently, knowing that you are you, Elderwood.
Hello, Donald. Are you okay?
Took ages to find you, lost fucking hell. Anyway, I found him. You left me in his tower, so I followed him, and now we're going to go and deal with that smug asshole.
Torrance.
Path leads east. We need to get going if you guys are in a good enough spot.
Yes.
Are you happy to continue on? I know that you have questions, things to do, wives to get home to.
Oh, you're talking to me.
I was looking and I get it. There's no pupils. It's difficult sometimes, but I was looking right at you.
I was just so focused on the fact that a bird crashed through a window and landed on our table.
I'm guessing it's.
It is Donald. but
Okay, good. I'm so glad he's okay.
You'd think that most sentient birds would just use the door.
It's at this point that you are both served 2 bowls of piping hot red tomato soup and a very thick, hearty sandwich to spend. There's like a baguette sort of cut into wedges sort of there for you.
I'm gonna sort of break up a little bit of like the crust and give it to Donald.
You know it'll cost extra to have the window repaired.
Oh, how much?
I'll cover it.
Oh, it's okay.
It's fine.
How much?
Your food will be 5 silver. We'll call it 2 gold for the window.
I'll give him 2 gold. I'll give him 3.
Generous. And he wanders back and gets a broom to start sweeping up the broken glass. Donald aggressively starts packing at the baguette.
I feel like Donald Werner can vibe with, because
They're both emos.
yeah, ravens and crows and the whole Corvid family. I feel like Werner's just like, I like this bird.
By the way, do we intend on leaving after we finish eating?
While we are eating, I know there's been a lot of we's and us thrown around, but I do also understand that if, like Inoki, this is too much for you to want to take on, I completely understand and respect that. It's not what either of you signed up for.
Well, I was going to say that if the plan was to leave after breakfast, that I should probably reach out to my wife.
Okay. I think I do need a little bit of time to focus, recenter myself, do some things. I need to figure out if there's a way I can send a message back to Verosia.
I mean,
Because
we can spend the night.
I don't think we have the time. It won't take long. I need 20 minutes to do one thing, and then
I'm sure there's a post office here.
Yeah.
just because I don't feel like we can go back to Verosia yet. They need to know what's happened. They need to know that we're okay.
Okay.
And then that way they can send somebody to see what the repercussions of what Torrance did back there are, whether that's affected anything. So I just need a bit of time myself, and I think Moritas would pick up on Verna sort of debating on whether or not to
Moritas, roll insight.
Whoa. 14. Was that in response to...
Apprehension in Verna's form, yes, but I don't think is enough to... Just sense lots of conflicting emotions, but nothing that they can articulate and that you can pick up on.
struggling to make sense of it themselves, and that's what they need the time to do, is to recenter, refocus, make sense of what's going on in their own head.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
If you need the time, take whatever time you need. I will be reaching out to my wife just to see what the plan forward is.
She only wanted you to look into the marshes.
Yes.
This is a little more than that, and she made it very apparent that she wants you home and wants to talk to you.
Yeah. But
Can I try and figure out what that's all about? Because it's just like, why are you so reluctant to talk to your wife?
You know what? Sure, roll insight.
That wasn't intentional, but I think literally
Oh,
it
that
just
fell off the tray. No, it's a 12.
So, in the 4 years that you were living in the temple to the Grey Lady, there was exactly one wedding. But they came in there because they were both very dedicated to their faith and because they knew the fragility of life itself, as the disobedient D20 almost goes in the ghost shell.
Almost. I'm going to give it one more chance.
Fair enough. So your dynamic and your understanding of how married couples should be isn't the greatest, but like it's a little weird that there's some apprehension there, but you couldn't articulate that it's like
Yeah.
an actual avoidance.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, maybe Lord Elderwood's also focused on just like getting a message out
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
wants to pursue Torrance for.
Yeah. And also, you know, she sent me out here to do a task for her. I haven't actually completed it. It's a little bad to return home and like, sorry, spent all this time away and I didn't get any of what you wanted done.
But yeah, Sven is going to write a letter to his parents then.
So with your soups and sandwiches digested, the coffee is terrible. The sandwich is almost as good as the one in the Thirsty Fox, with the promise of sending messages either back to the home of the Goliaths, the lovely Lady Elderwood, and just taking a minute to chill the F out the next natural trip is to the post office with the guidance onward back to Torrance with the help of Donald the Crow. What will happen? Find out next time on the Missing Muses.
Hi guys, and thank you so much for listening to our podcast. If you like what you heard here today, be sure to give us a follow on Spotify and hit that notification bell if you'd like updates for when we release episodes every week. This episode wouldn't have been possible without our amazing cast. Betrayer, she, her, playing Sven, he, him. Asta, she, her, playing Moritas Elderwood, he, him. Ellie, they, them, playing Verna, they, them. And not to mention our wonderful DM and storyteller, Adam Ray, they, them. If you like what you hear, be sure to check us out also on Twitter and Instagram for updates. See you soon.